let's talk about the Christmas Story. I'm sure it's something you get asked about all the time and on every podcast. But yeah, so how did this come about? How did it seemed pretty easy, like acting in general, it came pretty easily to you.
This was the easiest gig from beginning to end.
Really? So how many year difference was the Toy to Christmas Story then?
How many
years? Yeah.
There was a Toy was first,
7
right?
months? 8 months?
Okay, so you went from one basically to the other.
Oh wow.
No, I did the Toy. Then we ended that in July. October to December I did a movie called Kidco.
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
January, beginning of February, we started Christmas Story.
Oh wow.
So bang, 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 right
Exactly.
back and forth. Okay.
Yeah. And were you in school at the time? Like
sure.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I was in my 8th grade year during filming the Toy.
Okay.
And I ended up having to transfer to a school down in Louisiana, which I basically I walked in the building once. Hi, how you doing? I signed in. They gave me assigned the substitute teacher who was going to be my set teacher, and that was it. Never walked back into place. Okay, so I start my freshman year in New Jersey, and we're there September or like most maybe the last week in August we went back to school. I don't remember, but then it was by October. I'm already in Tucson shooting Kidco.
Wow.
So I missed 2 months, 8 weeks. Then I come back. Then we got the holidays. We come back 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, I leave to do Christmas Story, whatever, 6 weeks later, whatever it was. So, I mean, half of my freshman year, I wasn't in school.
Yeah. When you went to school, Scott, was there anything because you played in these movies that kids jealousy or something like that, or did you get bullied or anything? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I had an asshole bully. You betcha.
Did you?
Yeah. His name was Eric Starrett. I hope he's dead or in jail with some guy named Bubba.
Okay. I mean, because kids are cruel, and you're just trying to.
Oh no, I was small. Okay.
Okay.
I gotta think because I did the Toy. When I finished the Toy, I weighed 54 pounds and I was about 4'6" tall.
Holy hell.
So I start my freshman year a couple months after that. But I mean, I had done Broadway but the movie hadn't come out yet. It really wasn't until the Toy came out. And after the new year, when I got locked in lockers, I got thrown in the garbage dispenser in the cafeteria.
That's bullshit.
Dude, what am I going to do about it now? I mean, it was what it was.
Right. Have you ever seen this gentleman that you just said? Have you ever seen him out and about? No?
No, he's disappeared. Nobody has any idea what happened to him.
So you buried him in the harbor.
That's what I'm saying. He's dead or in jail, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, other than him, were there kids that thought that was awesome? Were there kids that were impressed by it, or did nobody care? Was it a thing nobody gave a shit?
So what he's saying is, did it get you any chicks?
That's later, though. That's later. That really didn't happen a lot in high school.
I feel I feel your pain. Didn't happen to me either.
Oh so. No. I listen.
He had his fair share, Bubba. Don't compare you two.
I'm not comparing. I'm sure he blows me away, but
no, I had my fun.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the girls in my high school. They knew me all, or most of them knew me from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever. And it was like, yeah, whatever. There were some that talked to me. There were some that didn't talk to me. I mean, I have one friend literally since 6th grade. She's my homie. Yeah. She's my buddy. Her name's Michelle. She lives in Texas. She just actually moved, I think, to like Arkansas or Alabama with her husband, who used to be a cop in Texas. She's my best bud. I've known her since 6th grade. I mean, I got friends since my best friend since 2nd grade. Kenny lives in near Malvern, or lives in Malvern, Pennsylvania, near King of Prussia.
Okay, outside of Philly there.
Outside Philly.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I had my core set of friends. Bobby, Vito, Andy, Jimmy LaRue. I mean, they were.
Those are the guys that beat up the bully and put your bully in the harbor. Those guys there.
Well, I mean, it's sort of funny because it didn't come to fruition until senior year. You know, my sophomore and junior years, I had to go to school in New York because the principal couldn't cover for me missing so many days because of the movies.
Yeah.
So I had to go to private school. But my senior year was when, you know, sort of the shit semi hit the fan, you know. He screwed with me, you know, I whacked him, and the boys kind of said to him, listen, you know, this shit ain't gonna happen no more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There you
go.
Yeah.
That's
what it
great.
should be.
So
and the funny part is, now that we're 10 years, 20 years, 30 years removed from high school, I have tons of friends from high school on my Facebook page. And every so often I get the one girl that didn't say 10 words to me, but, you know, her kid is a big fan. And she said, you know, he went to school with me, and you know, and the kid's like, sure, mom. And she's like, could you send me a picture for my kid? You know, and they don't ever send money, but I have to send the picture. Not one of them has said, hey, listen, can I send you $10 to cover postage, shipping, whatever? Can you send me a signed photo for my kid? Not one of them. It just, can you send me a picture for my kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Oh, did you know? Okay. Go ahead.
No, your question is going to be better than mine.
Probably not. So, A Christmas Story. Did you know at the time that it was going to be as huge as it was?
no.
Like,
oh, wait.
no.
So you asked me the question. So the week before I went into the audition for A Christmas Story, Bob Clark, the director, saw the toy in the movie theaters.
Oh, right. Okay.
He knew I could do anything that he threw at him. You work with Gleason and Pryor, great, no problem. So I go for the audition, and it was like 2:15-ish in the afternoon in New York, whatever. And we talked for a few minutes. I'm the only person there. He just called me in, okay. And he's like, listen, I missed lunch. You want to go downstairs and have a hot dog? We were in Manhattan. Sure. We go downstairs. We have a hot dog, and, you know, you had New Yorker, sauerkraut, mustard. Here we go. Okay, fine. We bullshitted for a few minutes. We go back upstairs. He says, listen, it was great to meet you. Thanks for coming.
So
Bob,
that was the audition, or
do you want
the
me, yeah,
interview,
do you
or-
want
That
me
was
to
it?
read something? Whatever? No, you're fine. You're all good. Okay. I left, walked up to my agent's office 7 blocks away. She says, what did you do? I said, well, we talked for a few minutes. We went and had a hot dog. We talked for a few minutes. I left. She goes, you got the movie. He called already. That was it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
From the time you walked back to her office, you had
And you
it.
ate the hot dog.
And
That's great.
I guess it was based on your performance in the toy. I mean, he
Well,
knew
of
what
course
you could do.
He wanted to see if I could improv. He wanted to see if I could just let it go, you know, let it fly. Because the script, according to the script, Flick only has like 12 or 14 lines or 16 lines. But the infamous scene, it says, Flick sticks tongue to pole. That's it. There's no dialogue. There's nothing.
So
Yeah.
And when we're doing it, Bob's like, listen, do whatever you want. Just, you know, let it fly, improv it, whatever. Let's see what comes out. You know, if I don't like it, I'll tell you. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I did it a couple times. And he's like, well, give me more. Just kind of, you know, really go. Okay. So I did it. And he goes, no, you did it better the first. The way you do it is the way to do it. Okay. And what you see, that's what I did.
Yeah, and it feels so natural. Like when you watch that and you feel the slow realization come across, it's great, you know, which then ramps up to panic and everything. But yeah, that's cool that he gave you the freedom to do it that way, and that he ended up liking your version of it.
Exactly. You know, I did it the most natural way. You know, and I mean, and the funniest way, because that's just always been me. I just come up with shtick for anything. I don't give a shit. And the don't leave me, come back, and blah, all that crap. I just spewed it out of my mouth. It just came out. And he's like, oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Okay.
So everything you improv, they added that into the movie, and that wasn't even in the script.
No, none of that's in the script. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which is awesome because, you know, don't shoot your eye out. You know, there's a lot of memorable scenes, but that's one of the most out of that movie. Yeah,
well, I'd say, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you have a statue of that.
Mm-hmm.
Of you with your tongue stuck to a pole. How amazing is that?
That's awesome.
You know, there are things in life that you can go, oh, well, you know, I have this, and you could just be an egotistical prick. It's just not me. But with that being said, there's 30 life-size bronze statues on the planet of actors.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering where you were going with that. Yeah.
I'm one of 30 now.
Wow.
With that being said, that and $5 still gets me a cup of coffee and a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. So it doesn't really get me anything at Dunkin' Donuts, okay?
Yeah.
It's just something that's there that, you know, people who say things or whatever, and I go, really? Let's see.
Yeah.
George Clooney. Oh, God, what's her face? Roberts, Julia Roberts, Tom Cruise.
Lucy.
What? No, sorry, they ain't got one, but I got one.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's was full-size bronze, and it ain't going nowhere.
Anybody ever said that to you? Like any actors, like you know, I wish I had a bronze statue. Why did you get one and I didn't? You know how people are.
No.
But that's amazing.
There are just a few. There's not many. There are just a few who kind of think that their britches are a little bit bigger than they really are.
Right.
You know, they feel more important. You know, otherwise known as they have a massive ego.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, really?
So Scott, is it true that the pole had like the vacuum and that's how your tongue was actually stuck to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a real pole. Then they put a piece of plastic. They ran over it, and in the middle was a suction tube.
Okay.
And they put a hole in the tube in the pole, and it was just like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was all.
I always assumed it was a prosthetic. That's crazy.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Nope.
Yeah, I read that. I thought, I wanted to ask you about that. That's amazing. So at the time, like I mentioned earlier, did you know it was going to be this big phenomenon? Like, no. Okay, I thought so.
It's a small movie nobody wanted to make.
What was the budget? Do you remember?
If Porky, the budget was $5 million, and MGM only wanted to give Bob $4 million.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
If not for the success of Porky's, Christmas Story never gets made.
Okay.
Wow.
That's complete opposite.
Wow.
You couldn't get any more different in movies than that.
Porky's to Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And before that, Bob did Children Don't Play with Dead Things and Black Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew Black Christmas, but that's a funny dynamic to make, one of the first slasher films.
Well, he also worked on the beginnings of Halloween with John Carpenter.
Wow.
And ended up having to, split with John because he got a gig, and he said, listen, good luck with this thing. And John finishes creating Halloween.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, Christmas Story was never supposed to be a big movie of any kind. It's a labor of love, small, not unknown cast, but no big stars, no special effects.
Well, the biggest star was Darren McGavin.
Sure.
Darren. Yeah. I mean, but did it take many years to bloom into a Christmas spectacular?
Well, the marathon changed everything.
Once the marathon hit,
what, TBS?
Yeah, when
Ted Turner
TNT started it.
Oh, TNT. Okay.
And it all is due to Ted Turner's assistant, who had been his secretary, had been with him for decades. She was a Christmas Story nut. Ted Turner's buying the MGM library, and he needed two movies left. And he's stuck, and she says, well, what about A Christmas Story? And he said, what's that? And I got this from somebody very high up at Turner. She brought in her VHS tape. Ted Turner and Jane Fonda watched it in the office and said, oh, what a lovely movie.
Yeah.
They buy it, and then the secretary, her assistant, whatever you want to call her, suggested the marathon. And the rest is history.
Wow.
What was your first impression when you heard that they were going to do this marathon? What did you think of that?
Because they've tried that with other movies, and I don't think it's worked.
No, they did it with The Wizard of Oz. First year was okay, second year bombed.
Okay.
They did it with It's a Wonderful Life. First year did okay, second year bombed. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have much money into this. They only had $250,000 into A Christmas Story. That's what they bought it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they figured we do it, we're going to break even, make something. If it does halfway decent, okay, we do it a second year. Now we've really made some money, and now you can bury it, and who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But the ratings went up, and they went, this is interesting.
Yeah.
By the third year, it went from, A, B to wow.
I'm one of those people that put it on Christmas Eve, and I leave it on throughout the night while I sleep even, and wake up watching it while, we do the gifts and the whole thing. It's just one of my favorites of all times. Why do you think, though, that it resonates with people still to this day? Younger people keep continuing to watch it.
Because it's a multi-generational film. It's grandma and grandpa. Then it's dad and mom. Now it's this generation. And, grandpa and grandma, this is what life was like back then. And this is the things that we loved. And we had Christmas. And, it
was a simpler time.
It was a very simpler time. But it was just, it's a relationship movie between a kid wanting respect from dad.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's done very well.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no gotcha at the end, the BB gun, if he didn't do that, the movie's a whole different thing. Hey kid, listen, you're just too young, you're not going to get it, and that's it. Forget it, it's all over.
Right.
But it's the payoff.
Yeah, it's like a Norman Rockwell, painting in motion. Like it's timeless in a way, and it's it would be carried on for generations. Like Gary was saying, I know I'll leave it on, and then when you get to the end of that 24-hour run, there's something that goes hand in hand with Christmas being over and the holidays being over, and now the marathon's over. It's just like it hits you the realization that well, that's it till next year now.
Yeah.
And Bubba's sitting there with a beer in his hand watching Scrooge. It's all good. It's okay.
No.
He watches The Grinch or something.
No,
I don't
actually, hold on.
He told us his favorite horror movie earlier was the Ghost. Ghost.
I'm not. I'm not into horror movies. I'm not into horror movies. No, I have a Christmas Story. I swear to God.
He's looking for it. It's okay.
It's still in plastic. He hasn't watched it. But,
no, I watch it. No, I see it all the time. I just like the dynamics of the old man, because he reminds me of my old man.
Darren's great.
And I mean, and he started some some stuff, and I know Peter, now that I know, because I seen him in, like, he did Iron Man now. So I mean, it just,
how awesome was it that he did Elf too? I mean,
well, let's go. Wait, two things first.
I'm sorry.
So I'll do the Elf one first. So Peter was not going to do Elf.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Favreau and he were buddies, and he was going to whatever, but he wasn't going to do it. And Will Ferrell called him. I said, listen, you got to do this with me. Come on, you got to do it, man. And he's like, well, if you put it that way, fine. I'll do you a favor. So you're going to owe me a favor later. And if I call it my chip, he said, whatever you want, Peter, you got it. That's why he did Elf.
That's awesome.
And number two is the other guy who has 24-hour marathon of A Christmas Story on his TVs, all 9 of them in his house, is Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
the
great.
entire marathon on every television in his house.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's, millions of people that do. Like, that's just, you created, or you're a part of what's become one of the better Christmas traditions year after year.
I was a small part in a big puzzle, but it all worked.
Yeah.
But it's a great puzzle, though. And I do have the movie in my somewhere in my studio. I swear to God. And I don't BS. I swear to God, I usually have it. I have it.
You don't have
it's got a picture of Peter on the cover. It's green.
Do you still talk to Peter?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Were you guys close whenever you were filming, or?
Yeah, we were always buddies.
Yeah.
I was the oldest, he's second oldest, and it goes down from there.
Okay.
Well, time to put yourself over. Is A Christmas Story the best Christmas movie ever made?
Ooh.
Where would you rank it?
I don't see. It's like an impossible question to ask somebody who's in something.
Yeah.
Asking Will Ferrell, is Elf the best ever?
He would say yeah.
He probably would say yeah. It's up there. I like Elf. I like the Santa Claus. That's a good one too.
Christmas Story, but I mean, I can't watch it anymore. I've seen it 600, 700.
That was going to be a question. Do you still watch it? But Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation are close, but A Christmas Story is probably number one.
I'm not a monstrous Christmas Vacation guy.
No.
I love Vacation, and I love Vegas Vacation,
but not the Christmas.
But not the Christmas one.
I like Elf, and I love the Santa Claus.
See, I was going to say in the top, but I do A Christmas Story to me, and It's a Wonderful Life, because I live in Indiana, Pennsylvania. That's where Jimmy, this is where we're all, live in Indiana
We're from
County
there, yeah.
originally. 2 of us still live here, and I met him when I was a kid. But to me, I just saw that last year. It was more emotional, and it's more not. I don't know. It's
kind of
redemption.
heavy for Christmas.
It's real heavy
yeah.
at the end. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched the whole thing.
I mean, you have to
I probably
understand,
fell asleep. I don't know.
It's a Wonderful Life is not really a Christmas movie. It's the last 5 minutes that becomes.
It's a movie that takes place around Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, every movie that you mentioned is still very good, and you could run a marathon of Christmas movies, and different ones would be great.
Oh,
but you don't watch it. You don't watch A Christmas
I like
Story.
A Miracle on 34th Street.
Mm.
You know, I always love that. You know,
Yeah.
Scrooged. I
Well-
mean, I went on the set of Scrooged. You know, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's in there. It's up there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, different.
Okay, one
different
is on.
tastes.
Which one is on? You're going to watch. I'd probably say Elf, and I'd probably say the Santa Claus.
Okay.
Well, other channels tried to do the marathons too. Like I think at one point TBS was doing a Christmas Vacation for 24 hours, and Comedy Central was doing Bad Santa for 24 hours. But I don't think
you can't. That's not a
they're
good
still
family
doing
movie
that.
for the.
No.
But
Right.
the reason
Yours
why
is-
Christmas Story works because it's grandma, grandpa, mom, dad,
It's
family.
universal.
Everybody loves it. You know,
Right.
I mean, once in a while you find somebody who goes, "Listen, I just can't stand it. It just drives me." Okay, that
Not
no
too
problem.
many though. I don't think
Yeah.
too many.
No,
I think
no, not too many, but
No.
there are a few, and I'm like, okay, but that's okay. We have a right to do that. That's the country we live
Yeah.
in.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, everybody's got their own opinions.
But Scott,
Well-
you don't watch it.
I flip in certain parts here and there. I kind of know the timing of the movie at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like,
for
you know,
sure.
I
Oh, I'm sure it brings back memories. You know, you got memories tied to that, and it's a way to
but I
relive them.
I want to watch Darren with the leg lamp. I want to watch Darren with the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Darren
that's
stuff
probably
was
one of my
always
favorites.
favorite. The Chinese restaurant and Darren were always my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you had 3 hours to sit and chill in your house, this has got nothing to do with Christmas. What movie would you put in? One movie of all time. What would you put in? Any type of genre.
Again,
No.
there is not one definitive answer. But if I get two, it just depending on what's at my fingertips.
I'll give you 2.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles.
Oh
okay.
yeah, nice. That's great.
So
You know,
just
Smokey and the Bandit would be 3. Airplane would be 4.
Mm.
Rocky
Comedies.
would be 5.
Rocky, good. See?
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
Awesome.
nice.
I love the Blazing Saddles. That's
Now, do you
awesome.
like the older comedies better than the newer comedies?
For the most part, I think the last really good, just hilarious comedy that has been out was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that movie I was pissing myself. I was laughing so hard.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a couple more Christmas Story questions before we move on.
I'm sorry.
But
I keep up around.
yeah, we know he doesn't
I-
stay on task.
I'm sorry.
No, but no, those were great questions though, Bubs, for real.
Hey, thank you. I try.
Was the whole movie filmed in Ohio?
No,
Okay.
now we shot in Cleveland, and we shot in Toronto. They shot in Toronto, the interiors of Ralphie's house, and then all the outside stuff, the tree, the flagpole, and some other stuff we shot in St. Catharines, Ontario, which is like between
Wow,
Toronto and Buffalo.
That had to be
Okay.
freezing.
24
Freezing
below
cold.
zero.
Wow. Wow. My goodness. But yeah, I've been to the house twice. Have you ever been back there?
We went to the opening.
Oh, okay. So they had a grand opening and a lot of you went. That's okay. Nice. What do you think about Christmas Story 2?
Never saw it.
Never saw it. Well, don't waste your time.
Yeah, not many people have.
I mean, when it came out, and then
I didn't know they made one.
They started the page on Facebook. I hate A Christmas Story 2. That was it for me. So I didn't.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. But yeah, don't even waste your time. But yeah. All right,
Oh, well.
Bubs, what else you got?
Well, I was still looking for the movie.
Oh, don't do that.
No, I was.
We
I know I
believe
had
you.
it. I had it. I
believe
swear
you.
to
We
God.
believe you,
We all
Bubs. We
believe you.
believe you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I
right,
knew
so
where it was
then
at, but look, guys, when you play something and you know where it's at and it's not there, doesn't it irritate you? Because it irritates me. Like I
Yeah.
knew where it was at when the last time I saw it, it was over here, down here, and now it's not here. And I have OCD, and it just f's me up.
But we're kind of in the middle of a podcast. You're gonna
I
look
know
at it
we
later.
are, and I was just
Yeah.
trying to. Yeah,
You're just getting old, Bob. It's all right.
I know. I am. I'm 50. I had a couple concussions. I know.
Yeah, welcome to AARP. You should be much better. Now you can see me again.
Oh,
awesome.
Would you go outside, get some fresh air?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a cigarette. Is that all right?
that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
I'm maybe the only guy guys ever talked to who's a free thinker, lives in California.
That's okay.
All right, Cable, go ahead, man.
And I'm outside my home. I'm not gonna wear a mask.
Oh, we understand.
That's cool.
I think we're 6 feet apart. I think we're good. So then you started going down a career path that you could see the connections, but you got into trading cards and memorabilia.
Yeah, tell us about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I started collecting cards at 75 and came out to California. My dad bought a baseball card movie memorabilia shop. It was all baseball cards back then. He turned it into the rest. So I was going to the National Card Convention, National Sports Show every year. So I got to meet the people from Topps and Donruss and Fleer and, Upper Deck, all that stuff. One day I was sitting and I was opening up a box of whatever the shit was. And it's the same stuff. And it's the same and the same and the same. So I went down to see Upper Deck first and said, why don't you start doing actors? Do celebrities. How many Joe Montanas, Brett Favre, Emmett Smith, Barry Sanders, blah, blah. You do this product after product after product. Come on. They really didn't get it. Okay, fine. And then I talked to one of the guys from Donruss. And he's like, listen, we've got the trade summit happening in a couple of months. Make up a presentation. I'll get the CEO, the head of sales, everybody. You convince us? Okay, fine. And I talked him into doing a celebrity product, where it was all celebrities instead of athletes, which nobody had ever done.
Yeah.
The first series was great. It was Shatner and Nimoy and the cast of Married with Children. And, I got Carrie Fisher and Billy D. Williams and Mark Hamill and David Prowse. And it was great, but
yeah,
the most fun thing is calling people I knew for years going, hey, I'm coming over your house tomorrow and I'm bringing a check and these things for you to sign for trading cards. So you're going to make at least a couple thousand tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
It was great,
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was the line called Americana, Donruss Americana. They did Americana 1, Americana 2. Then they did Celebrity Cuts, which was kind of the high-end version. And then they did 3. And that was pretty much the end of it. Because
what is the most famous celebrity card in that whole series? The most prized.
Several. They did one of ones and all kinds of. There was 50 Ultimate Warriors that they had put in the product.
Wow.
But there was a quad, Star Wars quad with Billy D, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and David Prowse. I did the quad, I talked him into doing a quad of the Married with Children cast.
That's awesome. I love that show.
That's great.
4 of them on the same card.
Yeah. So what did you get out of that deal? Because it's not often that people come up with a new idea for trading cards. Like you said, sports have been done forever. So how did you make out on that?
I got a commission from all the signings that I did.
Okay.
And, they sent me a case of cards.
Yeah.
And I've never opened it.
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And nobody has it. And it sounds, oh yeah, right. Okay. No. The big distributors, Dave and Adams and Fish, and I can't think of the name of his company at this moment. But there's like 3 or 4 big distributors for trading cards around the country. Nobody has a case of it. I mean, it's gone in the last 2 years from a $2,500 case, and now it's around $9,000 to $10,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
listen. I mean, people, we all get old. You know,
Yeah.
so people pass away, and that's just how this goes. You know,
Mhm.
but you know, to have done the signings that I did with Ricardo Montalban,
Oh
you know,
wow.
Yeah.
that was it's still one of my favorites because I met him as a kid. I was doing the voiceover work on the toy, and we were on the Warner Brothers lot. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to go take a ride at Universal?" Sure, okay. Back at Warner Brothers lot, and I get to meet Mr. Rourke from Fantasy Island. I'm like, "Oh, this is great." And and I end up being a Star Trek 2 fanatic, and I love Khan, and I just love the whole Kirk Khan thing.
Do you think that's the greatest movie in that whole series, The Wrath of Khan?
Not even close. Of course.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I was just wanting to see, because you're a Hollywood person. I am not. I live in Western Pennsylvania, but I know The Wrath of Khan is my greatest Star Trek movie of all time.
Wrath of Khan was great. They had there was a company at the time, FTCC Trading Cards, and they had bought the license to do the Star Trek 2 trading cards, but they made them in 5x7 size.
Wow.
And I knew I was going to see I mean, I'd seen Shatner already, okay, but I was going to see Ricardo Montalban. And there's a card in the series from the end of the movie where he's laying on the ground and he's got his hand up on the Genesis machine. And of course, if you've seen it enough,
right.
You know, he's got the whole dialogue thing at the end, you know, about Kirk and all that. And I had him write on my card, "To Scotty, I spit my last breath." Ricardo Montalban.
That's
awesome.
great.
So again, throw it in the grave with me. Nobody's going to give a shit other than me. When whatever.
That's going to be a big coffin.
Oh,
because I mean, you got all these collectibles that you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wait. Can I ask the three of you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've ever thought about this yet, because we're all pretty young. Some people think differently than others. Okay, fine. Okay, Gary, you go first.
Okay.
What do you want to be buried in?
Would I want to be buried in or buried with?
No, buried in. You want a suit. You want a particular jersey of a team you love. Something. What?
It would probably be a Pirates hat, a Penguins jersey, and a Steelers terrible towel.
Okay, there you go. All right, bub.
Well, Scott, I want to be cremated and my ashes on Heinz Field. That's what I always wanted, but I think it's against the law now because somebody just did it the other day.
Somebody will find a way for you to have that wish. Don't worry.
One of my buddies will do it. That's it for me.
Caleb, I have a feeling we're going to have a mission.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Oh, I've never even thought about it.
That's a perfect answer. You're a young guy. I get that. That's the answer.
I haven't thought about it either. I just made it up. But
I thought about it. I'm old.
I have it on my wall in my hallway. Is my signed Julius Erving, New Jersey Nets jersey, to Scotty, love you, brother. Julius Dr. J. Irving, blah, blah, blah. I've known Doc since the end of 1980.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I brought him the jersey and he signed it for me. And that's it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm going in. But all my stuff that I would take with me is small stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody would read the Piper thing. It's like, okay, fine,
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you were going around getting signatures on cards and stuff, and you said you would call people up. Now, were there people that you had no contact with prior that you ended up getting signatures for, like you were tasked for the card collection?
Oh,
or
sure.
Yeah.
No. I mean, but the thing is, I had done many autograph shows and appearances, so I knew a lot of the guys who repped other people.
Yeah.
The one guy, Derek Mackey. Okay, he's got a company called Cool Waters Productions. Handle all Star Wars people. I called him up. Hey, I need Mark Hamill. I need Carrie Fisher. I need Billy D. But no problem. David Brown, no problem. And it was great.
Now,
he took stuff to Mark's house, which I was kind of like, I wanted to go, but whatever. I had met Mark. It's like, all right. But like Carrie Fisher, he told Carrie that he was going to be gone, traveling, whatever. Could I come over? And he explained who I was, and I'm in the. She said, "Sure, have him come over." So I go to Carrie Fisher's house, and I got to sit with her for 4 hours. And
that's great. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Is how did that go? Did you guys, go get a bite to eat? Like, do you,
the one most famous thing with her is, of course, the Return of the Jedi outfit with the
the
Slave
bikini,
Leia.
Yes.
So,
Top of the hut.
actually, it's funny because when I opened up my phone, this picture was right underneath it. But there's her signing it. Hold on, I gotta get it so you can see it. Let me see. There it is. Okay, so there's Carrie.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's my statue. Okay,
That's hilarious.
That is awesome.
Oh yeah.
she says to me, "I can write anything I want, right?" I said, "Sure." She's okay. So she wrote on it, "A galactic piece of ass for Scott."
That's awesome.
That's
That
amazing.
is.
She sounded really cool. Everybody
Yeah.
had always said how cool she was. That's great.
Okay, two fun questions for you, Scott. First one, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Or Star Wars.
Okay.
Nice.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Carrie or Elizabeth? You can you can deny if you don't want to say, that's fine.
No. You gotta give me more clarification of what the question is.
Which would you, if you had to pick one?
For what? Spend an evening with?
Anything you want,
Yes.
Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Sure. Just to go out and have a nice
Hey,
dinner and
Bob,
use your imagination.
Can you take Gary to the eye doctor?
He's young. He doesn't understand, Scott. He doesn't understand.
There was almost no woman more beautiful inside or out than Miss Elizabeth.
There you
Okay.
go.
No, just it didn't exist.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. Probably
She
be my choice
was-
as well.
Now, to get back real quick to the Vader question, do you think, because I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic, do you think Vader is shown at the end of Rogue One as the most menacing Vader of all? That when he did that last 10-minute scene, it was epic. As a badass.
Now you want me to kind of be honest and say I've never seen Rogue One?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's if you've never seen it, you've never seen it.
It's an honest. I'm giving you the honest answer.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Now
Recommend it.
the last 20 minutes or so of episode 3 with Hayden Christensen when he turns into Darth Vader,
Mhm.
I had an erection. There was no question.
You went from 6 to midnight, Scott?
I went for 6 to midnight. Exactly. Thank you. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I gotta say, yeah, of course.
Oh, my God.
Oh no. The minute that he starts burning up whatever, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
start putting the suit on, I'm going, oh yeah. I was going out of my mind. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Well, go sometime spend 2.5 hours and watch Rogue One and watch that last 10-minute scene, and you'll say, I remember that. Oh, that podcast Triple B experience, Bubba, that crazy guy, Darth Vader, and the last thing when he was such a bad mother effer. It was just, it's unreal. I mean, it's a good movie.
It was
It
good.
is.
It was a great movie. It was.
We haven't talked about the toy, but that's okay. That's fine. Doesn't
We'll
make
bring
any
you back.
But I moved to California, and it took me a couple months to find Richard. He had moved, changed all his phone numbers. No cell phones back there, guys. No social media, no email, no nothing. Took me a couple months, reconnected with Richard, and he knew all my ins, outs, favorites, hated. He knew everything. Okay, and so he knew I loved Star Wars. He knew I loved All in the Family, the Jeffersons. Oh God,
That's my time. All that's
the show.
Sanford and Son,
Go ahead, Sanford and Son, and
Chico and the Man. No,
love Chico in it, man.
Oh,
Oh, do you know I actually had, and it's either somewhere or someone stole it from me. I'm not sure yet because I haven't looked at every box that I own. But I actually have a cast signed piece of paper from Chico and the Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's wild. But Good Times was one of my other favorite shows. Okay, so it's a Wednesday morning. It's like 88, early 89, whatever it was. And Richard calls me up. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. Come on over. I want to talk to you. Come on over. Okay. He lived like 15 minutes away from me. So I go over. He goes, good, you're here. Let's go. Where are we going? Doesn't matter. Let's go. Come on. And it's like the funniest scene that I could possibly give you is Richard Pryor getting in the white Rolls Royce driving me, on the 101 Hollywood freeway. And then we go down and we end up at Paramount Studios. And anytime you go to a studio, it's always, sir, can I have your name? Who are you here to see? We need to make the call. Blah, blah. It was great. We pull up to the gate. The guy looks, he goes, oh, Mr. Pryor, how are you? So you go right ahead. Don't worry about it. So we pull right on the Paramount lot, and we come up to the soundstage. And at the soundstage, next to the door, there's always the title of whatever they're shooting, whether it's a TV show, a movie, doesn't matter, And the title on the card says "Coming to America."
Nice.
Now, of course, the movie's being made, so I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And I said, well, so we open up the
Hey, Scotty, you still there?
hello?
Yeah, you there? We see you're frozen.
Are you guys
there?
there?
You are.
Okay.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
There
Gary?
we go. Yep.
Oh,
Good.
You guys froze for a minute, but I was still here and I could see cable. So, okay. So it was James
That's all
Earl
that
Jones
matters.
standing in front of me. James Earl Jones. And I'm looking, I'm like, and I don't want to freak out and become fanboy, And Richard walks me over and they had done Bingo Long together. They had done other stuff and they were best of friends. And they get a hug and whatever. And Richard goes, James, this is my boy Scott. He's a big fan. He loves you. We did the toy together. And James Earl Jones goes, it's nice to meet you. And he extends the hand. And I'm shaking Darth Vader's hand.
Nice.
And then,
That's
of course,
amazing.
there's Eddie Murphy, who I loved, and Arsenio, and then John Amos.
Mm.
And I see John Amos, and I go, Rich, that's John Amos. Good times. He goes, I know. I'm walking over, and to this day, I love him. I still talk to James.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That is awesome.
That was Richard, and it was just something that you just don't forget those experiences.
So working with Richard and Jackie Gleason was an experience that to have those two iconic comedians during the movie of the toy was probably just story among stories. Probably.
Oh.
Were they outdoing each other, being comical?
No. You got two different ducks in a pond.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Richard was the young, vibrant, studious, outgoing when he was outgoing, but when he was off camera, he was studious. He read books. He was quiet. This and that. Gleason just wanted to be left alone.
Okay.
Really, I mean, he was an old man, and he commanded respect. He deserved respect. And there's a reason why I do this, and it's Gleason. He used me as a human shield. I kid you not. Time after time, where if we were out, not in the studio, but if we were out at the plantation house, where we shot, the big house and film, if there were any extras around or whatever, anybody, he'd go, kid, come here for a minute. Yes, Mr. Gleason, come here. And he would pick me up. I only weighed fucking 50 pounds. And he'd put me on his knee. And he'd be like, how are you doing? Well, I'm doing all right. And then he would go like this. He would put his fingers up and go, Mel. Mel was his assistant. Mel would walk over and put the cigarette in. And Gleason would go like this. And Mel would light the cigarette. Now I realize my head's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just chain smoking. He smoked
Puffing
5 packs
away.
a day. 5
My
packs
goodness.
a day, unfiltered red Pall Malls.
Oh my goodness. Ay.
But two different ducks completely.
Okay.
I mean, the lessons that I got about show business came from both of them. Gleason taught me how to shoot pool.
Of
Which
course.
was great. That was great. And Pryor taught me about everything else. When I literally say everything else, I mean everything else. This was not a PC guy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It didn't exist.
Yeah.
Whatever came out of his mouth is what came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I hope this is mostly an adult show, because if it's kids, I'm sorry.
Hey,
Don't worry about
No,
it.
you're fine.
Yep.
I'm a kid at heart, but
So
you're good.
we're sitting there, and there's a bunch of extras, whatever, and people. And Richard goes, he points out this brunette to me. What do you think of the brunette? And I'm like, she's pretty hot, man. He goes, yeah, she gave me a blowjob last night. You're 13 years old. I didn't know what it was. So what do? You go, well, what is that? No, I didn't know.
Just go with it.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I had no idea. He would send girls to my trailer. I was pre-puberty. I'm hanging an inch and a half. There's nothing on. And Richard's sending girl after girl, but he's not telling me this.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm making out with most of them. Sometimes I named it, and he thought it was great, so we kept it. Booby time. Sometimes I get booby time, and I go back after lunch and tell Richard, "Hey, Richard, I made out, or I got booby time." Whatever. He's like, "That's great, that's great," but he doesn't tell me that he's doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's years later at his house.
That's funny.
The movie The Last American Virgin came on. We were flipping the channels, and I said, "I remember those days back." And I said, "All those girls coming." He said, "Listen, did you think you were like Stud Muffin or something?" I'm sending girl after girl to your trailer, and then you're telling me he goes, "You're the white son I never had. I got to take care of you," you know. and that was Richard. I mean, we had a blast.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now
Is.
let me ask you a question real quick. Who do you hang out with now when you go out, maybe have a couple cocktails and get something to eat into the Hollywood scene? Is there any of the guys that you're boys with that you go out and maybe catch a movie or maybe go see a sporting event or something like that?
I don't do a lot of that. I kind of live outside of town, so I'm not close, you know. Zach, who played Scott Farkas the bully.
Oh yeah.
You know,
dude, I loved Titus growing up. So Zach,
he was the brother.
Yeah.
I went to 32 of the tapings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I lived about 20, 25 minutes away from the studio.
Yeah.
And so I would go and I knew the whole cast and, you know, and Zach, and it was like, okay, this is great, you know. But we would go out for sushi or go out for whatever. You know, there's not a lot of showbiz people that I go out with. Once in a while, there's a bunch of us that get together and we go to a kind of a diner type restaurant. It's not a diner, but it's kind of like that, whatever.
Yeah.
Aaron Murphy, David Mendenhall. When Mason Reese is in town, we go. Keith Coogan. Oh God, who the hell else comes? And now I'm going to insult somebody because I'm not going to mention and be like, okay, fine.
Don't worry about it. They're not watching.
Todd Bridges. I go over to Todd Bridges' house and we hang. You know, it's just kind of the gang, you know. And if you see somebody like, oh my God, how the hell you been? What's going on? This and that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I've hung with Charlie Sheen a couple times over the last 4 or 5 months.
Nice. I don't know why, but I was going to ask you that. Just, you know, because Charlie gets a bad rap.
Well, I mean,
and deservedly so. I mean, yeah.
Way back, he deserved it, but he's clean and sober now for several years, and he's all good and all that stuff, you know. But there have been things that were said that he didn't do, and how do I know? Because I was there.
Yeah.
And I've actually said stuff, you know. I've had to make, you know, statements or posts and whatever, and you know, he and I really didn't hang. I worked with his uncle. I did a film with his uncle. I met his dad. I've met his brother. I met Emilio. Okay. And we would just see each other and say, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. I'd say, tell your dad I said hi. You know, that was the pretty much extent of the conversation. And he got tagged on something that he didn't do. And I spoke up because, again, I was there. Mm-hmm. And out of the blue, he called me. I didn't even know he had my number. He got it from a mutual friend. And he's like, I got to talk to you. Come to my house. Okay. So I go over and we're sitting there, you know, and made a cup of coffee. All right, fine. He's like, well, why did you do this? I said, well, because I knew it was bullshit. If I know something is bullshit, I'm going to speak up. You know, it just was wrong to tag you on this because it didn't happen. And he goes, listen, you know how long I've been in showbiz, how many decades? I said, you and I, the same shit, whatever. He says, nobody's ever stood up for me. Nobody's ever spoken up in my defense. He goes, why? I said, because it was the right thing to do. He's like, yeah, you're my boy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but
that was, I wanted to ask, and you know, because I like him as, I mean, I like everything he's in, and, you know, he was entertaining in 2.5 Men, and whatever happened, but hey, it is what it is.
Oh, all that stuff is what it is. I mean, I do so many of the, I don't do so many, but I do several of the bigger cons, not necessarily comic cons, because that's not really my thing. There's a show in New Jersey I do twice a year called the Chiller Theater, and they have 70 or 80 celebrities. That's coming up the end of October.
Well, speaking of cons, have you ever been invited to come to Steel City Con?
I've been there a couple times.
Have you? Okay.
Not with the new owners, with the previous owner guy.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
that's a big thing now.
Oh, Steel City there. Sure.
Yeah.
You know, great show. You know, I mean, I've hung there and it was fun. But it's like you get to know some of the other people over the course of the years and whatever. You know, Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox from Chips, I've known now for 2 decades, and they're just a rip-roaring riot. I love hanging out with them. When I grow up, I want to be Eric Estrada. He is Rico Suave at 72 years old. You have no idea what this man. It is hysterical. Women, literally. Oh my God. And they come up and they get their picture and their autograph.
Right.
And every one of them grabs his ass.
I remember when I was a kid, Scott, he was at a car show in Pittsburgh, and there was like a line a mile long with all these females just going up and doing what you just said. And I was a young kid. I'm like, holy heck, because everybody wanted to be Eric Estrada. Everybody wanted to be Poncherello when you're 12 years old. Because, you know, my age at that time.
Larry Hagman. Just a phenomenal guy. God rest his soul. He was just a great dude. You know, he was one of those guys you could just sit down, have a cup of coffee, and just start laughing.
Yeah.
You know, because the stories he would tell were just all over the place. You know, he was great. Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka from Karate Kid. I've known them for decades. Okay.
That's a good show now.
Great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The two guys that created it are the same guys that did Harold and Kumar.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I didn't know
that. Yeah, I didn't either.
From Scotch Plains, New Jersey. They grew up 20 minutes from where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, I've had a lot of chances to just be very fortunate, you know.
Yeah.
I did a couple movies with Frank Stallone, you know, back in the late 80s, whatever. And then you get invites, you know. Scotty, what are you doing? Nothing, whatever, you know. What are you doing tomorrow? I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever I was doing, you know. No.
Yeah.
You got to come to Vegas for the Planet Hollywood opening. You got to come hang with us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How do you turn this down? Okay, fine.
You don't. Right. You don't.
But it was great because I get to Caesars, and the people, you know, I don't dress in suits and ties, man. I wear T-shirts. I don't care, you know. And the lady at the VIP counter is looking at me like, right. You know, and she's like, can I help you? I said, yeah, I should have a reservation. Well, no, regular reservations are over there. I said, I don't think it's a regular reservation. My name is Scott Schwartz. I said, you want to look that up? And she, okay. And she goes like this. Oh,
sorry, Mr. Schwartz.
You're here with the Stallone party. Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Schwartz. No problem.
Right. Tone changes quickly, right?
You know.
Yeah.
But I ended up, you know, at the Planet Hollywood opening, the second floor was all VIP and stuff. So I walked up there with the gang, you know, and Sly's with us and Frank and this one, whatever. And I ended up sitting at the table. Frank, there was Kathy Shower, who's a playmate, Sly, and then next to me is Gina Davis and Rennie Harlan. And I'm sitting there, and I remember, I mean, it's already, 25 years, 96, you know. I'm sitting there, and I'm going, what the fuck am I doing at the table?
Yeah, surreal.
Schwarzenegger's at the next table. Whoopi Goldberg and Joe Theismann at the next table. Marky Mark is there. You know, Ricky Lake was there, who was one of my classmates in the 2 years in high school. You know,
that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow!
I came out of the toilet and I hear, "Oh my God, Scotty Schwartz!" And I go, "What the?" And
you know that voice.
I know that voice. It's Ricky. You know, but you know the places, the things. You know, I did a commercial in the early '80s with Sugar Ray Leonard. And stayed friends with him and used to drive down to his house in Bethesda. I played basketball with Ray Jr. And then we reconnected on Facebook. So it's like I'm talking to him all the time, you know. And I'm like, listen, if all this nonsense is over, whatever, I'm shot up, whatever, tell Pop we got to hang out. We got to, you know, whatever. And he's like, I told Pop, you know, that I'd send him a bunch of stuff that I had, you know, just like a whole bunch of my collectibles of Sugar Ray Leonard, whatever. Like, what am I going to do with them? So I sent him to Junior.
Put him in your casket.
I sent him to Ray Jr., you know, big, you know, box of stuff. So he called Dad, and he's like, Dad, you remember Scotty? Yeah. You go, dude, he just sent me this whole bunch of stuff. Oh my God, and this and that. Oh, we got to see him. We got to hang out. Okay,
That's amazing.
It's been a crazy, wacky life, but it's been fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it's
pretty
safe
good
to
from
say-
a kid.
Wow.
I think it's safe to say you've had an amazing life for sure.
Oh, I've had a blast.
Feels like a couple lives
Yeah.
crammed into one, honestly.
Yeah.
That or it's
mean,
a Hollywood
I've-
movie if they ever write. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, my book will be out next year. It should have been out this
Oh,
year,
nice.
but with COVID and everything else, it just didn't happen. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get to plugs and stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead and talk about your book.
But that's not till next year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's called Whatever Happened to Me. That's the name of the book. That's the title. That's the title I'm going with. They don't like it. I don't really care.
No, it sounds good because that could be the movie right there. That could. I mean, it's so interesting what you've told the three of us tonight on this show. You have so many stories.
Yeah.
And it's just unreal what you know and what you've been through.
Just a day in the life for you, huh?
But everybody says, they have that one time, that one event, that, the birth of their first child or, whatever. I have no children. Okay, fine, whatever. And I mean, I've had some wild ass fun and a lot of great experiences, but there is one that sticks out. There's no question. It's not even close. I was working at the Comedy Store. I was a doorman, and Richard was coming in, So the waitress came over and said, "Oh, Richard's here, whatever." And we had sat most of the main room, and okay, fine. And I go in the back, and it's Richard Pryor, Sam Kinison, Robin Williams, and Richard's wife, Jennifer.
Wow.
Wow.
So we talked for a few minutes, and the light goes on, meaning it's time for Richard to go out because he was going to do a set. Now, if you can picture this as a long hallway, if you go to the end of the hallway and you make a left, you go to where the seating is. But if you walk out the door and you make a quick left, that's where the back of the stage is. The curtains are. So Sam walks out, makes a quick left. Robin walks out, makes a quick left. Jennifer goes out, goes down to the end of the hallway. I'm standing there holding the door. And Richard said, "So what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I am working." He goes, "Not right now, you're not. Come on." So he grabs me, pulls me onto the back of the stage. There's two little steps at the back of the stage of the main room. So Robin and Sam had grabbed microphones already. And we sat there for 25 minutes and watched Robin and Sam. And they're killing everybody. I mean, people are peeing themselves. It was great.
Yeah.
So Sam turns around and hands Richard the mic. And Sam sits next to me. Now it's Robin Williams and Richard Pryor. And of course, back then, there's no cell phone cameras. There's no cell phones.
Wow.
There's nothing, man. Okay. So they do about 20, 25 minutes. Robin turns around and hands me the mic. And I looked at him and I'm like, "And what would you like me to do?" And he goes, "That's your boy. Go get him." I'm like, "No, go get him." Okay. So I walked up and I'm on this side of the stage. And Richard's on this side. He's looking out at the crowd. He's, going, just jiving with people, whatever. So he turns around. He sees me standing there and he goes, "Oh, you want some of this?" And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. Well, he proceeds to tear into me with every small Jew dick joke you ever heard.
Wow.
He's talking about the set and booby time and all this stuff. So he does this for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I don't say a word. I just let him go, So finally, he ran out of breath, and he's like, "You got nothing to say?" I said, "Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I'll say something." And he just put his hands out. "Go ahead." Well, I tear into him, and I mean, there's no PC. It's whatever. Yeah. And I'm coming up with every black dick joke I can come up with, and every chick was this and that and this. Oh my God. And we did 20 something minutes. And finally, Richard goes, "All right, I had enough. We're done." Okay. And of course, the people were going bananas, whatever. So Sam and Robin walk up. We all take a bow. We go off the stage. Sam gives me a hug. He says, "You were great. Beautiful. It was great." Robin grabs my cheeks. He kisses my forehead. He says, "You were fantastic. I knew you could do it." And Richard just looks at me, grabbed me, gives me a big hug, kissed me on the cheek, and he said, "Told you. It's true. You're the white son I never had."
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's an awesome story. That is something.
And
Yeah.
and
Just to
it's funny
be
because
there.
I've told it over the years, and some people, yeah, give me this, yeah, okay,
Oh,
fine,
no.
whatever. And it was the beginnings of Facebook, like a year after Facebook came out, and I got a private message and a friend's request from this guy, Jay something, or, I don't say his last name, but he worked at the Comedy Store, and he's got all these friends, mutual friends at the Comedy Store. And I look at the private message, Scotty, how you doing? It's Jay. I don't know if you remember me or not, but I was there the night with you and Richard and Robin, and I was up in the spotlight, and then I'm going, you're my guy. You were there. You can actually confirm that my story, yes, it really did happen.
Witness, yeah.
That is just an awesome
I'm
story.
still around. I've seen him in New Jersey a couple
With that
times.
tripod of comedians right there. Just the best of the best, really, in stand-up.
That's amazing. But hey, Scotty, I got a pitch for your movie right here. So
figure out who else on planet Earth can say I was on stage with Sam Kinison, Robin Williams, Richard Pryor at the same time.
You're the first person I ever met that can say that, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
But as I was saying,
it's like it's sort of like one of the things that I tell people. I did the toy. Now, if you know the movie, Jackie Gleason plays the rich white guy, and he has a son, and he goes and he buys Richard Pryor. So when I do events and stuff, if I'm doing a Q&A or whatever, I'll say, listen, I'm just taking a survey. You all know the movies I did, the toy and Christmas Story, the toy especially, whatever. Just taking a survey. Anybody else in here bought a black man beside me? I'm allowed to tell that joke. So much so, I told it to Rain, Richard's daughter. She cracked up. She said, my father literally would have peed his pants falling off the couch if he heard you say it. You got to do it. And then I told the joke to LeVar Burton, from Star Trek and all the other shows, Roots and all that. I told him the joke, and he goes, you have to. He goes, if anybody ever has a problem, you tell them, come talk to me, because I think that may be one of the most hilarious jokes I've ever heard.
That's great.
Yeah, that's something. But for whatever you want to go for that movie, right here's where you'd start it. On this podcast, you start out the podcast and you tell all your stories, and it goes right into your movie.
If somebody were to read the book and say it was worthwhile doing something, it would be a hell of a lot of fun, because I don't have any of the real pitfalls that child actors had. I didn't get into the drugs. I didn't get into the booze. I never got arrested for DUIs. I had my time in my life when I don't really call it depression, but I just kind of lost my path and lost my way and had to figure out who I was again, and I did it myself. It took me a year and a half on the road, but I did it. But I have had the life of Riley, and I say, hey, listen, I knock on wood and say thank you, and I thank all the fans, and I thank people that showed their love and appreciation for the stuff that I did, and I've never forgotten who I am and where I came from. I'm still that kid from Jersey. I still go back and see my friends. I go back and stay
that's
with
awesome.
my peeps, and
never forgot.
No.
That's awesome.
And Scott, I have a note here. I have it documented that I believe I read somewhere that you did something with child labor laws for actors, young actors.
For a couple of years, I was the president of an organization called A Minor Consideration.
Okay.
Their website's aminorconsideration.org. It's for child labor laws, and it doesn't matter if you're an actor, singer, dancer, musician, Broadway, whatever it would be. They give help if help is needed, whether it's advice, whether it's a kid who's in trouble, to performers from years ago, now or tomorrow, whatever it is. They have doctors on staff, they have psychologists on staff,
which is amazing, because it just proves that you care and that you want to give back.
Richard. I blame it all on Richard. Richard was my mentor. He was my muse. He was my go-to. He was, beyond what anybody thinks. Oh, he was hysterical. And I'm going, listen, he was 100 times better person than me than he ever should have been, could have been, didn't matter.
Well, you knew the true him, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, we sat, it's like, how do you find the common ground between a kid from Jersey whose dad was a window cleaner, my mom managed a 7-Eleven, and Richard Pryor, who grows up in a whorehouse in Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah.
Who's black.
Yeah.
How do you find the common ground? And the first common ground, not the one of you, three of you, if you knew who this guy was, you'd blow my mind. His name was Lash LaRue. Nope. He was a 50s Western star.
Yes, I was gonna. The name sounds so familiar. I
But
was gonna say he was a cowboy.
Sort of. His
He was in
his
Western
tagline
serial.
was the master of the bullwhip. That was his shtick. And Richard loved him. And my dad had tons of movies on VHS and had like 26 Lash LaRue movies. And I had my dad make copies for Richard. You know, beside the fact that I was a maniac anyway. I knew Richard's voice. I knew Bingo Long. I knew Silver Streak and Stir Crazy. You know, so I mean, when we started talking, you kind of find that ground that you have in common.
Yeah.
You know, as crazy as it was, and it led to a friendship that lasted until the day he was gone. You know, from the day we met till the day he was gone.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, he was my teacher. You know, there wasn't a topic, a subject that I couldn't ask him. It was anything. You know, my sex education I got from Richard.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, you sure
Of
did.
course. You know, I mean, drugs and alcohol. He made it so basic and so easy for me to understand and comprehend, even as a 13, 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, listen, there's a road, and it goes about 100 feet and ends in a brick wall. That's that road. Then there's a road called Route 66, which goes back and forth across this country and never ends. You can go over there and come back and go over there. Which road do you want to take? The drugs road is the brick wall. The alcohol is the brick wall. You stay clean. It's the other road. Which one would you like to drive? Which one would you like to? What life would you want to have?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great
awesome.
that he was able to be that to you in your life and everything.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He again, it's, you know, my personality, his personality. It's what I wanted to know, the questions that I had, and the knowledge I wanted to gain. You know, even at such a young age, he saw that, and he had burned himself up already, and he sort of promised himself he wanted to be a better person. You know, his kids really didn't get to be the beneficiary of any of that, but I did. I came at the right time. You know, so I mean, I had open door policy 24/7, any day of the week. That didn't make any difference. He said, if Scotty knocks on the door at 2:00 in the morning with some chick and he wants to go in the hot tub, somebody better open the door.
Let him in.
There you go. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is.
But it led to so many doors opening and friendships and things that he did for me, with me. You know, Shaquille O'Neal, I've known since his rookie season. I met Shaquille O'Neal through Julius Erving, who I did the commercial with.
Oh, nice.
And the first thing he said is, dude, I love the toy. Love the toy. my folks, Richard Pryor fans, love Richard Pryor. I said, you want to talk to him? And I had the old brick phone that was $4 a minute. And I called Richard. And I said, Richard, Scotty, hey, what's going on, my brother? What's going on? Little man. I said, well, you know, NBA basketball, you know, the Shaq Diesel, the Shaquille O'Neal. Oh my God, he's a beast. I said, well, I'm in Orlando. He's standing right next to me. He wants to say hi. So I put him on the phone. And to this day, Shaquille O'Neal will say, Scotty, put me on the phone. Richard Pryor, he's the best. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
People never forget.
All the people you know, and the
never
connections
forget.
you make. Right.
It's almost like that was your thank you for everything that he's done for you. So, you know, that's awesome. But
he was colorless. He wasn't racist. He was a fun-loving, good human being. Were there bad parts to him? Of course. I never was exposed to that because he didn't want me to be exposed to that.
Yeah.
You know, so I got all of the good.
Yeah.
You know, even later on, you know, there were things, he tried this again and tried. Not in front of me. He would never do it. You know, you don't preach and then turn around and do 3 lines of blow. And no, you don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but he was one of a kind. He taught me everything. You know, I a lot of my life lessons were learned from him.